This is day 2 of Emerald Crossing Science. This experiment is called Genetically You. So we're going to let the kids do some genetic testing in the class after we talk about some common traits of the people of Ireland. A lot of people think that the majority of the people in Ireland have red hair, and that's not true. The majority of the people in Ireland have dark hair, but about 10 or more % have red hair. Whereas in the general population worldwide, it's only like 1 or 2% of people that have red hair. So they have a higher percentage, but it's still, it's not the normal hair color there. So we're going to let the kids do some genetic testing, and the first one we're going to talk about is called hitchhiker's thumb. So if you have the kids put their thumb up like they're hitchhiking, if it bends backward like this, that's called hitchhiker's thumb. Can you do it? Not so much. Okay. That's something that is genetically determined. Also, the widow's peak is when you have a little bit of hair that comes down here in a point in the front, which I've got maybe a little tiny one, but not much. Matthew doesn't have one. Another test you can do is to see if a child can roll their tongue with it protruding from their mouth, which Matthew can do and I cannot. And the reason this is funny is because Matthew is my son. And then the last one that we're going to try is PTC testing strips that you can get these. You can get them on Amazon. It's like $5 for a tube of 100. So these have a chemical on them that is only able to be tasted by someone whose genetics say that they can taste it. Some people taste it, some people don't. So what's really fun is when you have everyone in the class wait and all do it together, and you can see who was a taster and who was a non-taster. So let's see if Matthew is a taster. Just go ahead and put it in your mouth. Yeah. Oh no, he can taste it. It tastes very bitter to someone who can taste it. I already know I can, so we'll let Matthew do it. Anyway, that was day 2, Genetically You. This is day 2, Emerald Crossing Science. This experiment is called Sling, Fling. So we're talking about David and his life as a shepherd and the fact that he used a sling a lot. Also, not just to slay Goliath, as we learn later, but when he was younger and he was a shepherd, to actually help protect his sheep from predators. There are 2 versions of a sling that you can make. The one that I have here is the leather version with the foam golf ball, which is my preferred one. They also have a secondary procedure in your book. But for this one, you just need to get some leather. This used to be an old couch that I was throwing away, so I just stripped the leather off of it. And then I took a rotary cutter, and I used that to cut them into strips that were the correct size, which is 4 inches wide. And then the rotary cutter again to cut those further into the actual strips we're going to use on the sling, which were 4 by 1/2 inches. Okay? Then I have this punch. You don't have to have one that looks like this. You can have just, the kind you hammer, whatever kind of punch, something to make the holes into the leather. Okay? And then we have string. Now, if you did the VBS from Answers in Genesis last year, you know that we had lassos. And if you came to the conference last year, I told people to save their extra lassos. So you might recognize this. There are 2 ways you can do this here. This method that was prepped at our test church, they were wrapping tape around the end to feed it through the strips. However, once we got going, I found that if you take a straw, just a regular plastic straw, and cut it lengthwise, cut a piece off and cut it lengthwise, you can then put the end of this into the straw and wrap that tightly and make it so that this can then feed through your leather. Okay? Oh, I dropped my... You know what I meant, right? Okay. So what you have is 2 pieces of leather. In your mind, call one of them 1, one of them 2, or A and B. And you're going to go in the same order So I'm going to feed down through number 1 from the inside, down through number 2 with my string. So I'm going to look like this. This was the first one I did. I'm actually going to switch positions. I'm going to switch positions there. Do you see how now I took the one that I did second is now going to go first, and they're going to crisscross. Okay, then I would go through here, and I would pull that through, and when I do that, it's going to look like this. Okay. Now, I haven't cut this yet, and there's a reason. Because you want to get the length right, you cut this. A sling is worn on the outside of your hand. Hold the other piece with your thumb, and I'm going to move these out of the way, and I'm going to find where it's going to make my cording be equal, okay? And that's where I'm going to snip it. So if I cut there, I can put knots in it there, and after I've done that, I wind up with this sling, okay? So now Matthew is going to show you how the proper way to wear this. You're going to make a slip knot here, put it onto the outside of your middle finger, grab the knot on the other end, and then put your ball into the little pocket that it makes. Now, we told our kids they're only allowed to do an underhand sling, so they go around, and when their hand gets back here, okay, so back here, you let go of the knot. So I'll step out of the way. There you go. You just killed a lion. All right, that was day 2 Sling Fling.